Today we're going to talk about the second drop of No Mercy 4, and we're going to go top to bottom, check out all the elements, but it's so basic. It all came from, because like you heard, originally, love how we just hop into this, right? Originally, this was the drop, if you remember. I'm getting a crook in my neck, so can't move too crazy. Like, I've been working out too hard, and then just like sitting in this chair with this piss poor posture. Dude, crazy. My neck is like killing me. But that's how the drop was originally. So it was that, and then in the second half of the original second drop, it went into. And I was like, yo, that's fucking sick. I don't know why I didn't build off of that. So the second drop in full, I wrote it over here and moved it to the side, and then I just like rendered the entire project and then rendered this section and then just cut it into the final thing in another thing, because I was going to have so many different versions. I didn't want to keep moving the whole timeline around in the actual project itself. So now the drop is this. And then it flips, and this is a concept from old Lex Luger beats, old hip-hop instrumentals, where they would start in one key, but it would just go on and on and on. So they would change the tone and the mood of everything by shifting the keys either down or up, shifting the entire key of the track up or down, and it would give it this whole new sort of feeling. So I went to the key from the key of D flat to F flat in this drop here. So it goes like this. Added in other elements, cinematic things in there to kind of spice that up and fill that out, so it wasn't continually the same thing that you heard in the first 8 bars, and it wasn't just a key change, right? So let's go top to bottom here. The drums are really cool. It's really kind of what, like, the calling card of it. Open it up here. Notice that the snares are pitched, because I'm going with that from that flat to that sharp note, and I'm letting the snare follow because it's a tonal snare. You're going to feel that discord, that disconnect there if I don't shift the snares, the tonal snares with it as well. So that's why I did that. So that's the drums there. Now, if we move into the vocal here, it adds a little bit of flavor too, rhythmically. Vocals in that rhythm and that delay is really coming in handy. And what did I use for that delay? Just the stock Ableton delay on 4/4s. It's the way that I'm placing it. It's just a 4/4, and that's it. It's just me saying no mercy, mercy. That's it. Now the sound design section without the screeches. First things first, the sidechain compression on here is here. Everything is being sidechained to the kick drum, okay? I've got a minus 33.7 dB threshold at a 2-to-1 ratio. That means for every 2 dB it's over that threshold, it's going to duck it by 1. And then I've got a 0.80 millisecond attack with a 37 millisecond release time, okay? That threshold is really what's getting that to be punchy and also to let that kick drum slice through the mix. It's really holding everything together here. Now the sounds itself, that's 1, 2, 3. That's just 3 sounds in the first 8 bars here. First sound is that sound that you're familiar with. And then you've got the low end of it all. Nasty. And then you've got that sort of melodic texture. That's nasty. Really, really cool. And that's just me. This is a bass sound. The Master Sword sound. Sick ass name. And I'm just playing it high, because low. I don't remember exactly what the sound was originally. I definitely retrofitted it to work for this, and it's got a lot of reverb on it, and then that reverb is exaggerated by Heaviosity's Fury. Okay, like this has quite a lengthy chain here. Fury from Heaviosity, some utility to bring up that volume even more, and then some auto filters for different sections. Kickstart 2, just to give it some, I don't even know, I was going in on this. And yeah, so that's that. But let's start up here, okay? This sound is super basic. It's super basic. It sucks damn near. It's super tightly EQ'd. Without the EQ, but I wanted the low end to come from somewhere else because it was doing so much movement. I wanted to be sure that I could control both of these layers the way that I wanted to. Very, very controlled and tightly, okay? So I low-cutted this. It's not playing anything under 220 hertz. Took out a very problematic frequency at 1.29 kilohertz. Listen. Disgusting. Got rid of that. And then gave it a nice high shelf to kind of boost up some of the detail in there, okay? And then aside from that, there were things that I tried and I ended up not using. As you can see, they are off. Let's open up the patch itself. It is in mono. The patch is straight up in mono, as you can see from that utility. And then, you know, the sound itself, this is the Terminator sound, or variation of it. This is Pog Demon on oscillator 1, Witch wavetable oscillator 2, and then my low-end oscillator for oscillator 3 of the basic shapes of the sine wave. LFO1 is playing as basic sustain ramp at a 2-to-1, because I needed it to really sustain. I didn't want it to have that end point, like if it was at 1/1. I didn't want to do that because it was sustaining longer, so I needed that 2-to-1. So it didn't reach the end of the cycle before it restarted, okay? And LFO1 is modulating the wavetable position of oscillator 1. We're modulating into the wavetable position, and we're modulating the wavetable position of oscillator 2, modulating into that position. Go ahead and show you in a 3D format here. We're going from here to there, and we're going from here to there. That's what that's doing, okay? And then it's holding that. It is sustaining that after it ramps. See what I'm saying? Sustain ramp. Then we've got harmonic stretch on the spectrum morph of oscillator 1, and formant scale on the spectrum morph of oscillator 2, with quantize adding some nice little bit of character on oscillator 1 for the wave warping. What the fuck? Jeez, wave morphing. Good grief. And then sync on oscillator 2's wave morphing, okay? Which is really cool. I want to talk about that someday because like I said, I don't understand these textbook wise. I just know it's like I'm gonna get this characteristic, you know, that I can't even explain. It's just intuitive, which is why I'm ill suited to be a teacher. Then we have LFO2 here, okay? And this is, we're modulating into positions on using LFO2 for the harmonic stretch on the spectrum morph of oscillator 1 and the level of oscillator 2. So we're letting that do that as well. We're modulating that volume of oscillator 2. So as far as the design philosophy in the effects section, compressor attack is up, that low band is up, then distortion before the compressor with a little bit of drive, a lot of drive, that's 7 dB of drive, 100% mix, and then an equalizer to balance that all out. That's that first sound. It's super simple, super basic. And then you've got your low end, which is my Jeff Tango sound. This is Shoddy Cryo, basic shapes with the sine wave for the low end, and then Cookie Jar. I don't know where all these wavetables are from. Because like I said, you can put you can put phase plant wavetables into Vital, serum wavetables into Vital. Like Vital is just the one, right? So I do everything inside of Vital damn near if I can, if I'm not like trying to like deliberately use something else. So yeah. Not much to this sound, just a little bit of smear, which is why it sounds like that. 86.80 without the smear. With the smear, you see I smeared out that sort of, because LFO1 is playing into the wavetable position of oscillator 3, and that's a quarter note. And as you heard, without that, if we set this to none, I smeared that shit, so it's just blurred, but it's still very, very like controlled as well. So that's what I did there. And then it's just low end, man. There's nothing else in this sound at all. There's just a lot of 5 dB of distortion with soft clipping on above the compressor, with the attack up on the compressor. and a low band up on the compressor, equalizer to balance that out, and a little bit of delay. I mean, a little bit of reverb. That's it. That's all there is to this sound. And it's just the wavetable positions that I have with these specific wavetables that create this sort of tough and gruff sound. That's just really just lows and lows and low mids. That's that sound. Now, the cool sound is this. A lot of this reverb is coming, like the characteristics of this reverb from the sound is coming from Heaviosity's Fury. This is a distortion designer, okay, from Heaviosity. Without Fury, that's what it sounds like. It's just a regular old sound. Now you add in Fury to it, it compresses the shit out of it and it just gives it this nice edge. I like it. Fury is just epic, and I'm just using... It's got all these different drive modes, all these different distortion modes, all these different tone modes, and then you've got your mix, a little bit of tone you can control, and then movement, input, output, and an output mode on what kind of clipping you want. And like, it's fucking sick. Modules, you can do some shape and stuff here, and then some modulation stuff. Like, this thing is, it can get pretty deep, okay? I just usually just start you off in the 70s distortion preset, and then I just fucking go and do whatever I want from there and adjust it and get it to sound how I want. Lots of flexibility here with this distortion designer, and it does make the difference of this whole sound. Aside from that, it's just, Monster 7, basic shapes, and Solid Phase 2. These are serum shapes. These are serum wavetables, mind you. Nothing crazy to this. This was like some kind of like what was this sound before? Like, let's hear what it was before. This is the Master Sword sound. So let's open up another instance of Vital here and then just hear what the hell this even was originally. So this is the Master Sword sound. I'm going to find it here. Master Sword. So here it is. It's a disgusting sound. And all I did was play it at a higher octave. Can you hear that? And then I just low cutted it. As you can hear, it's low cut. It's not playing anything under 194 hertz. So now when we play around with the actual sound, absolutely disgusting. And remember, without Fury, nasty. So that's that sound. Like, and how do we get that tight shape? It's because it's all happening right here. This first. It's the way that this shape begins. Wow, you can really kind of play around with that. But yeah, it's the way that this shape comes around. And you could have shaped it like this using an envelope, doing something, bring the sustain down and sort of create this again. But that's why I just like using LFOs, because I can, it's just fun. I like it. Lots of flexibility. But yeah, that's that sound. Same thing again, just a lot more reverb. The time is up a lot on this, so it gives it that nice decay. And then the delay is up. Aside from that, I've got a bunch of different macros that I've programmed into here, how busted the sound is, and then a little bit of the tone. But that's it, that's that. If there's something specific, damn, I keep hitting this. If there's something specific about any of these sounds, let me know, and I can kind of dive in, because I don't know exactly what to touch on. And you'd have to give me a specific sort of thing to dive into, and then we'll go from there. Now the screeches, the screeches. Not really using them a lot. I play it really for rhythmic purposes here. Play it with the drums. That really sets the tone. That's fucking sick. That delay on there is nasty. That's ill. Where's it coming from though? What did I do? Where's that coming from? Is that a delay inside of fucking Sylinth? I doubt it. Yeah, it's not a delay in Sylinth. It's gotta be... Wow, the delay is coming from the pork and bean screech, which is the main screech. These are my pan screeches, and then this one here is playing down the middle. As you can see, 37 right, 37 left, and then centered. Yeah, so it's just a basic super plate for some reverb, and then delay. Super plate is from Sound Toys, by the way. That's a plate reverb plugin. And then the stock Ableton delay on 3.3, which is one of my favorite time signatures for delays. It's nasty. Yeah, and then I've got chords playing. It's a MIDI tool to add chords to a sound. I added a chord to a screech to make it thicker. Without it, then with it, it just sounds better. It's crazy. That's a pro tip right there. Don't just using chords on your screeches, you know. That's a pro tip. You just learned something. You probably have always seen that, never knew what it actually did. I'm literally adding a -3 and a +3 shift to play with that. So it's like a chord for my screech, which is just thickens it up, makes it nastier. So the more you know. Yeah, but now to differentiate the second half of this drop here, I bring in instruments. So you have a choir. We've got a choir that comes in that starts to filter in. Listen for it now. Because you have to set that up. If I just switch the keys, it's not gonna work. If I just go from D flat to F flat, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna sound right to the average listener. You're gonna be like, what the fuck? Where'd this come from? It's gonna sound uncanny. At least to me it is. The trained ear, even though I got it to correlate and it sounds right, you have to set it up. The setup is everything. So I have this choir, it starts to filter in, and you notice I went right above it, da, da, and then we hit that flat, da, da, da. Look at that. Above it, and then flat. That's sick. And the cool thing about the Sign Player from Orchestral Tools, you can layer as many sounds as you want. So you can literally create your own combinations of things, right? So what I did was I created this ensemble of trumpets, horns, and this female choir, okay? From various fucking things that I have, okay? Various different libraries. So it's trumpets, horns, and a choir. And like all together, you just have this thing that just... And then I balanced all these sounds in the mixer view. So in the mixer view, I said, okay, do I want a tree, which is like a nice, big, wide, open sound, or I want the spot mics, which are right up on you, is nice and close and intimate. So I kind of played around with all the balancing of that and the volume levels of each of these things to get the balance that I wanted. We've got the little bit of aggression from the trumpets and the horns, but then a lot of just filling in the sound out with the choir, okay? So, yeah. Then the next sound here, I added in stuff to have that continuity from the first drop. That's sick. Now it plays like complementing the drums. And you see I'm getting out of the way of the kick drum. You see it's out of the way. And then it plays with it at the end, but it stays out of the way because it just adds that nice little bit of ooh, right? And I play with the main sound. Really just the way they play off of each other. It's just the way you have to think about your rhythms in this interesting way, okay? So that's the sound from the first drop. You can watch the video, the last one on the first drop walkthrough for that. And then that's it. And then you just got, this sound playing. Because now it's all layered in here. And it's very subtle, but it's there. So yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it. And then I rendered the sounds out. I rendered this whole thing and just literally just went from here and highlighted it. And then I just, Command-Shift-R, and I just rendered this motherfucker, at 48 kilohertz, 24-bit. I've been doing some other stuff, so I had some different settings on here. And rendered it, and then I played around with it in a final structure project of this where it was all audio, okay? And then you can really clean things up. That's sort of how I end these things. I just render it, and then I'll move it to another project where it's all audio, because it just gives you a different level of flexibility. Once you're set with something, then you can really sort of look at it overall without okay, I gotta go find a specific layer, and then I did that, because you'll see that some of the transitions here are good, but they're not exactly how they originally were, okay? So that's because I moved it to audio and kind of like chopped it and edited some things, okay? So yeah, that's it. If you have any questions about this, anything that I talked about here, let me know and we can talk about it. See you next time. Boom.